As we've been saying, this is going to be the last England-West Indies Test series to be played for the Wisden Trophy. The next time these two teams meet in a series, they'll play for the Botham Trophy, named, of course, after Sir Viv Richards and Sir Ian Botham. So, what do the two cricketing knights make of this honour? Well, it was obviously difficult to get them in the same room at this current time, but we did get them together on Zoom alongside Isha Guha.
Gentlemen, what a pleasure it is to be joined by two sirs and the Botham Richards Trophy. What an honour. How special is that for both of you? Sir Ian, I'll start with you.
Look, it came out of the blue. I got a phone call and I sat back and I thought, well, that really is a big honour, you know, to have that now renamed. I thought it was quite amazing, and I thought, well, it couldn't be with a better bloke. So very happy that the two of us have been. I'm pleased for as much for myself as I am for Viv, because you know, he's the best player, the best batsman I ever bowled to, and he in every format of the game he's been the best. So it was a great honour to grow up with him. You know, we started our first class careers on the same day, and we played and had a great run at Somerset together in a fantastic dressing room, led by Brian Close at the start. And I think we probably, both of us, owed Closey quite a lot to getting us into this position now. So, no, great honour, very, very flattered, and look forward to catching up with the man himself soon. We're always bordering on no travel. It's been quite difficult.
Well, you get to catch up on Zoom. So Viv, just talk us through the significance to you and what a journey it's been with Sir Ian.
Well, when I first got the news from our president, Mr. Ricky Skerritt, you know, I felt sort of a welcoming, and especially the individual that they would have mentioned as well, that we have spent some time, quality time together. We have had some success together. You know, there are times when I first came to England, just how welcoming Ian made me felt as an individual, because, you know, there can be some funny people around the world, not everyone who appreciates this colour. And to me, Ian sort of adopted me as a friend, which was pretty welcoming. And I just felt that at that time, we sort of sent a huge message to the world that two people of different races can compete together and most certainly live together, shared a lot of good things together over the years, you know. So to be sharing this trophy with Ian, one of my best mates, as I said, an individual that would his friendship would last for forever. That's how I see Ian. He's just a very special person. So you ain't have you ain't gonna have two sort of funny guys, two good guys, in my opinion, whose name is gonna be on whatever trophy. I don't think that's too bad.
I want to get to some of your stories in just a moment, but can you just describe the significance of England versus West Indies Test matches? I mean, we often talk about the Ashes, but what do these two teams playing against each other mean to you, Ian?
Well, when we played, when I was lucky enough, or unlucky enough, whichever way you look at it, to play against the best side I think that's ever played Test cricket, most of the time it was pretty painful. You know, you get a busted rib and you copped a few from. Well, there wasn't too many drive balls in those days, and it was very testing. And I've gone on record and said, in my opinion, it's the best Test team that ever played, has ever played the game. It was at their peak. You just looked at the batting lineup. You know, Desi, Gordon Greenidge, Viv, Kalisharan, Larry Gomes, who was another thorn on the side, Clive Lloyd. You know, it just goes on and on. Then you start the other end. You've got Dujon. You know, he wasn't a bad player in his own right. And then, of course, you got about 12 quick bowlers, all 6 foot plus, with the exception of probably Malcolm Marshall, all wanted to bowl at 100 miles an hour. Oh, it was great fun. It was great fun. But as captain, my first job, when I was going to the dressing room during that series, the first thing I did is I counted up to see how many fit men I had for the next day. It was very formidable, but an honour to have played against what I think was the best side that ever played the game.
I hope you don't mind me reminding you, but in 20 tests that you played against the West Indies, you won just one Test match. There was another opportunity at Lord's 84. Did you feel that should have been one that England took care of?
What happened in 84? I can't remember what happened yesterday. What happened in 84?
the special Gordon Greenwich moment.
Well, yeah. We actually didn't want to declare. David Gower, I think, was captain, if I'm right. And I don't think none of us really thought we'd worked so hard to get ourselves into that position that we didn't want to declare. And the then chairman said, "Oh no, you've got to declare it. So no one can get those runs now. You might even win the game." Well, by tea time, it was all over Red Rover, and we were on our way home. But they were monstrous. They were magnificent. They dominated, and lucky enough to get to know very well a lot of those players, and to rub shoulders with them in the arena was a great honour.
So Viv, what did it mean to you to play against England? What did it represent?
Well, as a little boy growing up, I've always remember the late commentary coming from people like Sir John. I'm saying John Ollett. I don't think he got to that stage, but the commentary, Brian Johnson on the BBC, they were special in describing what's happening at Lord's. And as a little boy, I always felt that I wanted to be in that particular position, hearing my heroes before we came along, the Sir Garys and the Wes Hall, Charlie Griffith, Conrad Hunt, Ron Kanai, and all these people. So I wanted to be, from very early, to be in that position because of the road in which they would have cleared for me as an individual. And it's a series at every time. And I thought also that, when you have a country who have been your colonizer for so many years, and decades and stuff like that, for you to, as someone coming from the colony in itself, a small island like Antigua, that you were able to compete with the individuals who once did whatever. That's for me, it's my ashes.
That's good to hear. Now, I want to ask you about the Botham Richards Trophy and how you expect it to be played. I mean, do you want it to be representative of your relationship, that you had this fierce rivalry on the pitch, but great mates off it?
Well, I think that's how most sport is played. Certainly in our time, whether you were playing the West Indies or Australia, you battle on the field, but at the end of the day's play, you'd sit down in the dressing rooms and you'd have a beer or you'd have a chat, whatever. And I think that's what it's all about, being fierce and as formidable as you can be when you're out there playing. But then at the end of the day, the stumps come out the ground and then it's back to the real world. It's back to us sitting around. And there was a lot of very funny moments in those dressing rooms all around the world with all teams. I think that's gone out of it doesn't happen so much now. And I think that's a shame because obviously we're in weird times at the moment, so it's not going to happen. But it used to happen all the time. And now it's sort of faded away. And I think that probably doesn't help, didn't help in a lot of ways, because a highlight for me was watching Viv grow up. When we grew up together, we shared a house for 10 years or whatever it was. And you watch his career blossom and grow up. And that gave me as much of a buzz. And I had an advantage because I actually knew him better than probably most people in English cricket, certainly, and in the world of cricket. And it's just great. It's just fantastic. And to be honoured, and it is an honour. I got a phone call and I was told you were going to play for the Richards Botham Trophy, and we're going to rename it instead of Wisden. It sort of knocked me over a bit. Actually, I thought, well, there isn't really a bigger honour than that. And I hope it's very competitive, tough and hard, but good off the field as well.
When did you first become aware of each other and your abilities?
Well, I remember we were playing for the under-25s team. I got selected. I was playing club cricket at Lansdowne Cricket Club at the time, and I got invited to play the under-25s. I think it was against Glamorgan, which was my second county when I left Somerset. So when I walked into the dressing room, I remember this guy. Wow, I'm in a strange land. This individual coming from a very small island. There's a lot of things that I wasn't accustomed to when I first arrived in England. And as I walked into the dressing room, obviously I'm a stranger. I hardly knew anyone. And Beefy came up with a glass of cider, if I'm correct. We couldn't afford it then, but and he came up and he said to me, man, I think it was after the match. He came. I was scheduled to be the batsman, and I got out first ball for a duck, and Ian went in and smashed 100. And he came after with the cider, and he said, from now on, I'm going to do the batting. I went in, and apparently he was supposed to be the all-rounder who was supposed to get the wickets. I ended up getting 5 for 25. Ian came up and he said to me, hey, from now on, we're going to change roles. I'm going to be the batter and you be the bowler. And just the friendship started from there. And from there, we just hit it right on. And just the approach of Ian and his friendship and just the way in which we felt as an individual, whether I was black or white or yellow, whatever the case might be, he was just a people's person. And I just felt pretty much moved. And I said to myself, oh, that can be reasonably okay. And Ian sort of sent that message that there's some good people around.
So, Ian, what was your recollection of that moment? And did you think that the cider was going to break the ice?
Well, we had the cider. I'd like to point out that was at the end of the day's play, not before.
I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah, we enjoyed it. We enjoyed each other's company, but with the cider, it had to be afterwards. But no, I'd heard all this about this West Indian guy from Antigua, Vivian Richards, Vivian Alexander Richards, who was playing up in Bath for Lansdowne, and he was smashing it all around the county, to be honest, and neighbouring counties, and just a run machine. But no, we struck it off straight away. He's right. I got 100. He got out first ball, but he actually got 6 for 25, and I didn't pick up a wicket. And the mutual agreement was, well, okay, Beefy, you get the runs, Smokey, you get the wickets. It didn't quite work out that way, but that was the first time we met. And I remember, I think Kath was with me at the time, my wife, or wife to be then, and my mother, I think, came down to watch this game, and consequently, my mum ended up with Mama B, as Viv used to call her, and as we both called her in the end. But once a week, we drive over from Taunton to Yeovil, dump the bags of laundry, go down and play golf at the golf course, and then come back and take all this pressed, clean stuff back to Taunton. So, it wasn't a case of this being a gradual. It was almost an instant friendship, and it's been that way since. And as I said earlier, if we don't see each other for 6 months, it doesn't make any difference. It's as if we've been together all that time. So it is a special relationship, and he's godfather to Liam, my son, my son, and he's very proud of that, and he still calls him Uncle Viv, which I think is quite amusing. Well, we are getting old, Smokey.
Yes, we're getting on, for sure.
What would you say some of your favourite memories are then playing against each other on the field? I mean, we recently showed some archive footage back of 1984, that Greenwich double century, and there was a moment there, Viv, you were looking as cool as ever, and Beefy bowls you a bouncer, and you come down the track and you're pretty much nearly at the other end, and you're tapping your bat down on the wicket as if to say you're bowling way too short. What would you say, when you look back on your time against each other on the field, what are some of your favourite memories?
Certainly, some of my favorite memories would be the fact that the success that we had together. The first thing, maybe let us deal with on the club side of things, where Somerset never won anything for a number of years. Then up come these two young individuals, as vibrant as anything can be, full of energy. And we obviously started winning trophies. And as a professional, these are the stuff that I think you crave for. You pray that you get yourself in such positions that you can be successful. And Ian certainly created that. He brought that energy, saw someone who was a go-getter. And we learned from one another. And I think that's the most important things that you can remember. Just the friendship that's shared because of the things we went through together. I can remember when he had his problems with the captaincy and he was about to resign. He came home that night. He came home that night, and I stayed up with him. And you could see that the news and the press and everyone was all over the place. And he bought a couple that stuff in the bottle again. He just started to get involved with the red wine business, and he bought a couple reds home that night. And I think we went through them, and we spoke about maybe what was going to happen in the future. He said to me that he would relinquish the captaincy, and he just wanted to be Ian again, because as an outsider, I felt that because of Ian's nature and free sort of spirit, that he didn't quite get the support that he should have from a lot of members in that team at the time when Ian was captain. And that was, I think, maybe why he was in a position to fail.
I mean, it was vice versa, wasn't it? Because you had Viv's back at Somerset as well, Ian. It was very much that kind of brotherhood between you two.
Oh, definitely. We've always said that. I remember that one innings he got to 147 against us. I think it was at Lord's, and they announced over the Tanai Viv had just gone past 5,000 runs or whatever it was in those days. And I walked past him and I just said, "Let's just hope that's the same score tonight." And he got out 2 balls later. Not to me, Peter Willey, I think, got him out leading edge.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. But
I remember that. Yeah, Mickey Mouse dismissal.
We had a lot. Well, it wasn't a case of having his back. It was just what was being done at Somerset at that time was totally wrong, and for the wrong reasons. And Joel was affected, of course, by this as well. And I thought it was disgraceful, and I stand by that. And it was disgraceful for many reasons. But Somerset had never won a single trophy when we joined the club. And then with the help of Joel and Hallam Mosley and all these guys that came through from all around the world, playing for Somerset was an honour. And the way they were treated was quite disgraceful. And I wasn't prepared to stay there and be part of that. And I marched off. And when I was, as Viv says, I remember that evening. I decided I didn't want to be the captaincy anymore. I felt that I wasn't getting a crack of the whip. I was being given the job one test at a time, which is ridiculous. There's no continuity for me or the team, and it was quite a ridiculous situation to be in. So that's how close we were. Can't get much closer than that. And 10 years together in a house, you get to know each other very, very well. Believe me, good and bad.
What was some of the bad stuff? Who
I'll
did
tell you something.
I was very, very tidy me. And Viv I used to raid his fridge. I had one fridge, which was cider and a few bottles of wine, and he had the food. And then, of course, Joel Garner, who's another great mate, he used to cook food, and we used to go around and find out when Joel was not in the house, go in, eat the stew, and then leave a few stones in the pot. So when he came in, he thought there was food in there. Next morning, the dressing room, the two of us scattered very quickly when a big, angry Joel Garner walked through the door. So, there's hundreds and hundreds of stories. But, just a privilege and an honour to having a mate like that. It's very special.
Can you remember a time when you wanted to smash Ian out the park, or Ian, you were so desperate to get him out? I mean, that fastest 100 must have been, an incredible moment for you. And I had a look at the scorecard, Ian, and you were going at 5 6s and over. But that must have been, brutal when he was going as he was.
Yeah, and I think if I remember rightly, we were 1 or 2 bowlers down as well. So to keep on going. But no, that was, as I've said on many occasions, the good thing about it was only 56 balls we had to suffer for. So it didn't prolong the agony. It was just a very quick, sudden death, and that we were taking that care of. But no, I do remind him in the first innings I did get him out for not very many, I think, caught hooking. So but no, I got great delight if I got his wicket, and he got even more delight when he got my wicket in Trinidad. I remember where he danced around me all the way back to the dressing room. But no, so many great memories. And as Viv says quite rightly, all of that started at Lansdowne in Bath, and then went through the Somerset for 15 years or whatever it was. And then I went to Worcester, Viv went to Glamorgan, and it was just as competitive. So, yeah, we didn't know any other way of playing, the two of us. We played to win, or try and win.
Someone who plays to win right now is Ben Stokes. And I just want to talk a little bit about this series. And Viv, I'll come to you first on the West Indies and Jason Holder as captain. He was given the captaincy at the age of 23, he's now 28. How excited are you about the future of this West Indies team and where they can potentially go under the leadership of Jason Holder?
Yeah, I felt from the early stage that certainly he had all the qualities for him to be captain. There's sometimes folks would question maybe the energy that he brings as a captain in terms of being innovative at times. Sometimes maybe allow matches to slip away rather than get into the meat of the fight at that particular time. But I believe he's got magnificent potential. We can see from his all-around ability that he certainly warranties being in the team, because I think one of the things which was certainly said about him earlier, the fact that he needs to produce more. And I think to get himself in the category now of being the number 2 all-around in the world, and no one can be annoyed with the fact that the best all-around at present, Ben Stokes, he's at the top of the order, and certainly he has performed in that manner for him to be in such a position. But it's a West Indian team that certainly showed some form, and I don't think England underestimated West Indies in any way. It's played well, and these are how matches run sometimes. England knew exactly what needed for them what they needed to get done in the second test match, and came out firing. West Indies wasn't at their best. I think the only thing West Indies can do now is for them to motivate themselves to such a degree that we are holders of this particular trophy. We are still in a very good position in order for us to draw the series. Let us take maybe football in terms. If you have a premier team goes away from home and plays against a very good team that and comes away with a draw, that's okay. They're happy with that. West Indies feel the same, that if they come away with a draw, that they wouldn't lose this particular series and that they'll be still holders. So there's quite a lot to motivate themselves for. And I think Kim Roach, who haven't had the best of times so far, that he'll come good, and he'll come good at the right time, just in time where West Indies would need him.
Sir Ian said that you were part of the best team that's ever played the game. I mean, where do you see this West Indies team going now?
I believe we've got all the potential in the world. There's lots of ability. I believe at times that we do not quite match that ability with performance. But it's a team that I believe, you speak of young Blackwood. I'm a fan of young Blackwood. He's aggressive. There are times people think he may be a little bit sporadic with his shot making at times. But to me, aggression sometimes wins over most times, especially when you get it right. What I think he needs to do at this present time for him to be more successful in future, the innings that he would have played in the very test match in that last innings, should give him the sort of platform for him to move forward. And I think he would, because there are times when, as a player, you need to find out exactly the things that you can achieve. And I believe that he found out in himself that, apart from being aggressive, that he can also defend his wicket. And if he does so and be a little bit more selective, West Indies is going to get a lot out of him. The batting lineup, in my opinion, looks pretty strong. It looks got some depth. And I believe the fast bowlers can do the business. I'm backing the guys to defend this particular series and what needs defending in this last test match.
Fighting talk, I like it. Ian, we've had mention of Ben Stokes, their number 1 all-rounder in the world now. There have been so many comparisons with yourself. How do you rate him in terms of England's best all-rounders?
I think he's right up there. He's a breath of fresh air. He's box office. As I've said on many occasions, he empties bars, unlike a lot of people I've played with who filled bars. So he's fantastic. He's great for the game. The kids love him. And I watch him, and I think there's a lot of things there that are in common with us, the two of us. The will to win, both wanting to be involved all the time in the game, whether it's fielding, bowling, or batting. I think he's fantastic. He's great for the game. He's probably the biggest. Well, he's not probably. He is the biggest name in world cricket at the moment, and that's saying something when you think of some of the players around the world. But I think he's number one, and I think England are very lucky to have him. Durham, he's magnificent, and he's always been competitive. Always wanted to go and work hard at his game. He's reaping the rewards of a lot of hard work, and there's plenty more to come, I'm sure.
What would your advice be to him right now? Because he is on top of his game. How does he maintain what he does? Because it literally is everything. It's ball, bat. He's contributing tactically as well.
Yeah, no, he should. He'll know what he wants to do, and I think far from be it for me to tell him what to do. At the end of the day, he is his own master, and he's doing a very good job of it. So he will know if he starts to get an ache and a pain, or if his sore ribs or something's not right, then he's the one that will pull the pin and get it right. Look, he can go on and do everything. There's records there for him to beat, and lots of records for him to beat. And I think that as long as he stays fit, which he works very hard at his fitness, there's a different format nowadays. You play a test and there's a week or so of nets and training. We used to finish the game on a Tuesday, back to Somerset to play Wednesday, and then another first-class game, and then back to the next test. So it was continuous. And that's easier. I found that easier than having a period off where you had to go into the nets and train. I hated nets. But he has worked so hard on his game that it's now paying off. And he is great to watch, believe me. I think there are not many cricketers I've paid to go and watch these days, but I certainly paid to go and watch him.
It's an incredible, isn't it, the difference 3 years makes, where, he was probably at the lowest of lows and now the highest of highs.
Yeah, look, lowest of lows. Everyone has, when you're under the microscope as much as you are, and nowadays with mobile phones and pictures, etc., and recordings, it's tough. But he learnt a lesson, and it's all part and parcel of the learning curve. And he made a mistake, but having said that, he learnt from that, and he's gone on, and he's made himself into probably the most valuable player in the world of cricket at the moment. So, there's always a reason for something. And so long as you learn from it and move on, I think which he's done. I don't think anyone holds a grudge against him for that. Not now. I certainly don't.
Ian, just one more question for you. Can you confirm or deny that you're about to enter the House of Lords?
You know as much as I do. There's a protocol is in place, so don't worry. I've spent quite a lot of time in Lords anyway, in Northwest 8. So but we'll wait and see. There will be an announcement, I'm sure, and then I'm allowed to talk about it. But if it does happen, it'll be a great honour. So
you called it the Botham Trophy, but I went alphabetical. So which way should it be?
I don't think either of us care.
Okay.
Well, can I butt in here?
You can.
Senior. I'm most senior. I'm the most senior.
I don't think either of us are too bothered about
that. Anyway, it doesn't bother me. No skin off of my bone, man.
What a typical Viv way of ending that. What a lovely chat. And what will it be? Botham, Richards, Botham? I don't think either of them are too bothered. Two old friends, and it's really nice that those future test series between England and West Indies will be called either the Botham Richards or the Richards Botham series, which is great. And they were chatting to Guha.